Welcome into the Your Illini Nation pregame show live from Minneapolis. We've got a party going on here at Target Center on Championship Sunday. Brett Behrens and Derek Piper here getting you set for the 2:30 tip-off between Illinois and Wisconsin in a game you can watch right here on WCIA 3. Derek, we made it. 3 games in 3 days, and the Illini are set to play for their second Big Ten title in the last 4 years. Pretty remarkable stuff from where this program was, where it's at, and the opportunity today for Illinois.
Yeah, big day for the Illini. Obviously, you want to add to the trophy case back home, a chance to cut down nets, get a trophy, put a banner in the rafters, and that's a big deal. You shouldn't take that for granted.
No.
I know that everyone is focused on what's to come afterwards, the selection show, the path, the seeding, and everything like that. We'll talk more about that. It does seem like Illinois pretty solidified as a 3, regardless of what happens today. But just the idea that you could be having that trophy in your locker room when the selection show pops on. And it is a long way from where Illinois was and has been in the past. But to have a chance to win your second in 4 years in terms of a Big Ten tournament title is a big deal. And you just like the idea of winning games, doing what it takes to get it done, and trending in the right direction this time of year going into that next tournament that, of course, means so much. So a lot to play for here, and 2 teams that have looked good, and Wisconsin is coming in with some momentum as well, as you'd imagine, and an overtime thriller against Purdue yesterday. So I like the matchup, and we'll break it all down.
Yep, looking forward to that. And this could be 3 out of 4 titles, 2 tournaments, 1 regular season title that they shared in 2022. And so, look, I mean, this is pretty historic stuff for the Illini to be in this position where they are at today, playing for another Big Ten title. And yes, they won the regular season championship, fell 3 games short to a Purdue team that proved that it was vulnerable yesterday, right? Purdue falls in overtime, albeit, but this Wisconsin team playing better as of late. Let's just start out here with a couple quick hitters. What do you like about this matchup, and knowing that Illinois got a 30-piece from Marcus Domask when they played in Madison last month? Do you feel like this aligns well for Illinois? They are the favorite today, but in terms of their matchup and what they can exploit today from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think in terms of what Illinois should like, obviously Marcus Domask and someone that got off to a really slow start in this tournament. Yep. Ohio State did a good job with their size on him, 3 for 16 in that Friday night battle against the Buckeyes. And then yesterday, he ended up stuffing the stat sheet. Now, it was another slow start against Nebraska. But, I mean, he finished with, 16 points, I think 8 assists and 7 rebounds. Yep. So was flirting with triple-double range there late in that game yesterday. But I think that with Nebraska, the way that they trapped the post, it kind of took away some of the booty ball opportunities for him. In this game, he went absolutely bonkers in his home state against the Badgers. So I think that when he gets some smaller guards like a Chucky Hepburn, Max Klesman on him, that he can obviously go to the back-down game. And really looking at this in the first meeting, he saw a lot of Tyler Wall. Now, that is a guy with size and someone that maybe you don't back down all the time. Actually, he had a good amount of success just kind of one-on-one ISO and taking him off the dribble from the perimeter when Wall was going to match him. And I think also another quick note here, Wall dealing with a knee injury that he's playing through. So maybe already another challenge in terms of trying to stay in front of Marcus if he's going to draw that same matchup. So it'll depend on who Wisconsin tries to throw at him. It may not be just one guy throughout the course of a game, but I do circle the guy that is just, an hour northeast, I think, of Madison in terms of his hometown, and be having another big night to help Terrence Shannon Jr., and boy, he's been spectacular.
All right, we're going to break down this Wisconsin-Illinois matchup coming up here as we get set for the 2:30 tip on WCIA, but we got to start, I guess, with last night, and Terrence Shannon Jr. setting the single-game Big Ten tournament scoring record, dropping 40. He was phenomenal, and they needed all 40 of those points, Derek, because they're down 15 with 18 and a half to play. We were talking about, all right, guess we're heading back tonight or early in the morning, and yet here they are playing today. We are witnessing history. Terrence, one of the best players in program history, certainly from a single-season standpoint. Where he's at, what he's doing is pretty phenomenal, Derek, and we're witnessing some history here, right? In his run, obviously the record there, but to be able to carry Illinois to a Big Ten title, if that were the case today, I think would only further cement him in his Illini legacy. And then, obviously, if they're able to make a run next week and the weeks thereafter, it would only help that. But, like, to me, I'm like, okay, yep, he's up there in that IO conversation at this point.
100% agree. I mean, he's one of 5 guys currently averaging 22 points a game around the country. In terms of the high major level, only him and Zach Edey are in that range. So in terms of the on-court stuff, he's a bona fide All-American level player. He deserves to be in that mix. We'll see. I think it is going to be challenging for him to get probably enough votes just based on the initial gauge. I think Sporting News didn't have him on there. The way I look at it, and look, I get that voters and publications are going to make their own decisions, have their own opinions about whether they want to vote for him, or they want to put their name on a guy that has an ongoing criminal case. But I think if you're not voting for Terrence Shannon for All-American, it's not basketball related. And I'm not saying that that you should go one way or the other. That's just the way that you look at it, because the on-court stuff you can't deny. The fact that he is that special, that he scored 25 points or more in 8 of the last 11 games. He's just thoroughly dominant, like you said, having one of the best single seasons in Illinois history. And while you're sitting here in an NBA level arena, I mean, it's Timberwolves play here regularly, and it's usually Anthony Edwards out there dominating and wowing the crowd. It's Terrence doing it this weekend, and Terrence will belong on the court at that next level too. I mean, he's that kind of guy, and really could have been drafted early second round. And if he would have stuck in the draft, obviously Illinois is glad that he came back for another run.
Absolutely.
And he's the biggest reason why Illinois can go second weekend and beyond, because Illinois has him and a lot of other people don't.
Right. And so the fact that he goes 28 and 40 in his first 2 games here, pretty remarkable stuff for what he's been able to do on this stage. And really, I would say these last 3 to 4 weeks, right? He's really solidified himself as the reason why Illinois has been so successful on the court here. And look, everyone's going to say whatever they want to say about the off-the-court stuff. The fact of the matter is that he has been cleared by his civil case to be on the court and playing and treated as a member of the team. The team walked through the lobby here at Target Center. They had like this blue carpet put down. I tweeted out some video of that earlier. Terrence was there. He's with the team. And his teammates are supporting him, obviously. Like, in the team, they're still teammates. And so I think this is going to get more national coverage as they go into next week. People are reminded, if they had forgotten about what had happened back in December and the implications of that in January when that court case was overturned. And I think it's going to get to start stirred up again. Like, it's been pretty, I wouldn't say quiet overall, but like, you know, as time goes, people kind of forget. They move on. I think that's going to get stirred up a little bit more. Now, how you want to judge him off the court, whatever, that's up to you. He's still got his day in court coming up May 10th. But right now, he's a member of the team and he's playing, and he is one of the best players in the country by and large.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It has been a little bit of out of sight, out of mind in terms of just the Illinois focus. And look, he's on the court, so we cover him as such. You watch him as such, and it kind of becomes the new norm of he's back with his teammates, and they have him in games. I think as you, of course, get into the brighter lights of the NCAA tournament, some people, especially on the national stage, really locking in and focusing in on Illinois for the first time, you're going to have that resurface in terms of the fact that he is playing with all of this looming over him. And I think also we've seen it a little bit already here. I haven't seen all this come out in terms of the content-wise, but you're going to have some national reporters especially spark the conversation of, you know, why is Terrence not available to talk to the media? Why is he not doing the open locker rooms? And what does that say? So I think for fans out there, if he's suiting up in an orange or blue, that's all they care. And I get that. Of course, not to go down the rabbit hole, which we've already talked plenty about of, you know, we're sitting here with, should he be out there, should he not? He was in court, like you said, given the opportunity to go out here and play. Illinois is playing him, and he's one of the best players in the country in the meantime.
Yeah, and we have asked once again here, open locker rooms, what's that mean? Well, in the NCAA tournament and Big Ten tournaments, we can go in as media and talk to whoever we want for 30 minutes in the locker room. It is completely open. It's like NBA or any other professional league where they have an open locker room and reporters can go in and ask questions to whoever they want. It's less control from the team. It's actually no control, other than the fact that Terrence is not in that open locker room portion here in Minneapolis. I asked, where is Terrence? They said he's not available. And I said, okay, well, what's the point of an open locker room? But that's fine, and that's up to Terrence and the obviously U of I and Terrence's attorney and legal representation that they don't want him talking. Doesn't mean we're not asking, and we'll continue to ask. But that's that's where that stands, and I would not expect that to change here as we get into next week. Are people going to ask? Yes, absolutely. And it's like you mentioned, are more national people going to be picking that up and wondering why he's not in there? Absolutely. But I think they're going to stand firm, and I would not expect him to talk. All right, so Terrence is great. Marcus played more up to his standard yesterday, right? Like that foot with those triple-double numbers. Quincy's had a really tough tournament, but I thought in that second half he scores 11 points, and like he was back to that kind of Quincy that Illinois has to have. What are some other points you're looking at today here for this Illini group, other than the slow start, right? Because I asked Brad last night, like, okay, what's the deal with the slow start? What can you pinpoint to? And he's like, I have no idea. Look, that's going to bite them, right? Like we've talked about it ad nauseum. So what do you think? Like, other than us getting out to a better start, what else do they need to do today?
No, I'm glad you brought up Quincy because I think he is a guy, we've talked about it, who can be an X factor for this team and take them up another level. And when you have a front court with a Tyler Wall and Steven Corral, it's going to be important that he comes to play in this one. I mentioned Wall's knee issue. He has not played well in 3 games here in Minneapolis. I think in 3 games combined, he has 8 points, 4 rebounds, and he's 3 for 15 from the field. So he's really struggled. But that's an opportunity for Gary A to really make it a decisive advantage for Illinois at that position group. So really like the way that he just attacked the basket against Nebraska. It felt like in that, I know it's what Nebraska does defensively. They want to clog the lane, make you shoot threes. We talked about it on yesterday's pregame show, but Illinois kind of took the bait on that. They took 24 threes, I believe, in the first half against the Huskers. Were settling for jumpers, weren't getting to the rim. But in the second half, Illinois was a little bit more downhill determined. And I thought that Quincy almost dunking on Sam Hoiberg and the Hoiberg family was one that he got fouled. But he's a good athlete. He's strong. He can get to the free throw line. Doesn't need to make some more free throws than he has recently. Coleman, he's another guy that's
struggling.
Really been all over the map. He's had some moments, like, of course, you don't win against Ohio State without some of those key stops on Jamison Battle. Thought he was better later in the second half against Nebraska, but he's just been a little out of whack, showing his emotions. He was even getting into it a little bit with the coaching staff yesterday about some things offensively. He's got to be more steady and focused, and you need him playing his best basketball for Illinois to reach that peak, of course. And it's just been really puzzling to me that Brad is still hammering the effort and focus and toughness thing with this team.
Isn't it crazy? We're here at his Big Ten tournament, playing a semifinal, and he's like, and credit to him, like, he just said, you guys figure it out. It was that Coleman turnover with 18 and a half left that caused Brad to call a timeout as Nebraska yesterday starts the game on an 8-0 run. And it's the senior Coleman there that's turning it over. And Coleman did tell us after the game that, like, hey, look, I had to get out of my own head, just start thinking about the team, like, not myself, which I think is some maturity from Coleman. But, like, why are they doing that here, right? Like, shouldn't you be locked in? And Ohio State, too, right? Like, that's incredible to be. And like, why? Yeah,
it's hard to figure out. You're going to miss shots. You're going to have times where you're not playing your best, but it was very obvious for anybody to watch. Whether you're here in attendance or you're watching on TV, they just didn't have the effort and just that mental edge, which is not characteristic of who this team has been for the most part. I know defensively there have been talks of, hey, are they really going all out to try to grind out those possessions? As we kind of evaluate why is this team not better at the defensive end. But just in terms of slow starts, obviously that was a big characteristic of last year's team. And that's kind of where it's been a little ironic to me, is that these last 2 wins for Illinois, you get the lackluster, sleepy starts, the furious second half rallies. Like, that's what last year's team did against Texas and UCLA, Northwestern at home. And I don't think you want to follow in those guys' footsteps. That's very dangerous to have that kind of be what you're going to be going into the tournament. So I think that just from a overall perception standpoint, just an overall vibe check as we get ready for the true one and done, the true win or go home next week, that Illinois needs that fast start today to be dialed in and need to get back to doing that.
And even think Arkansas in the NCAA tournament last year, right? Like, got way down, had to make a run in the second half, didn't ultimately come back and get close enough to do that. But, like, yeah, man, like, that is to a T last year's team and just the struggles that they had. And so that's going to bite them at some point. And you hope that is not here as they're playing for a title, or certainly next week or thereafter for what this team is. All right, so we've talked about Coleman, we've talked about Terrence, we've talked about Quincy a little bit. The one guy that I think has been pretty consistent in that hustle and effort is Ty Rodgers, man. Like, he is really elevating. I mean, there's a point 3 weeks ago where he wasn't in the starting lineup late, or wasn't on the court late. He played 19 minutes in the second half yesterday. Like, Brad is trusting him. 7 offensive rebounds, Derek. Like, that is like baller hustle numbers, man. Like, I've been really impressed with Ty, him knowing what he's supposed to do. He's not a great shooter, right, at all. Has he even attempted a 3 this year? I'm going to guess so. No, right? Like, him and Dane might be the only 2 guys on the team that haven't attempted a 3 this year among the guys who actually play. But, like, I love Ty's game. Like, he is just a dog, man. Loving it.
Absolutely, yeah. And you need that to be able to extend possessions, get those second chance opportunities. And really, I mean, 13 rebounds yesterday. I think he had double digits in the first game too. And I think he's also had some aggressive, tough takes to the rim, which that's the Ty Rodgers I want to see. I mean, he's a really good athlete. He's improved at the free throw line. Why wouldn't you try to force the defense to be physical with you and try to stop you? And if they do put you on the line, you could actually make those. Last year, that was almost a turnover with him shooting around 30% from the free throw line. If he's going to go there, he might make one.
Right.
So that's totally different this year. So I just like the way he's trending. I've wanted to see him in those closing game lineups, especially with the way Justin Harmon is really not giving you much of anything over the last few weeks. They got to get him right for this team to really feel good, like they're clicking on all cylinders. But Ty playing late, and then having the ability to go with Quincy, but also Luke. Luke played really well yesterday, too. I know we'll probably touch on him here in a second. But, Ty Rodgers is one of those gritty guys. And I think today, as we look ahead, with Shannon probably matching A.J. Storr, what a phenomenal battle that's going to be. Ty Rodgers probably going to see a lot of Chucky Hepburn. And Chucky was really good yesterday against Purdue. He's going to have to make sure that he doesn't have another game for the Badgers here today.
No doubt about it. What's up with Justin, man? Like, just does not seem to be there. Gage locked in. Shots are not falling for him. Like, how do you try and get him going?
I need his confidence going again. I think that it probably just starts at the defensive end. You want to have him make less mistakes and not foul, not get beat off the dribble. But he's also a guy that we've seen be a capable three-point shooter. But really, I think since the start of February, he's only hit 2. That's a month and a half, only 2 made threes. And look, he's had his moments in late game. He's had those drives from the corner to the middle of the paint, some hits and floaters. A guy's played a lot of basketball as a 5th year, but just as, like you said, just seemed out of it, lacking confidence. Whatever it's going to take, I don't know exactly, but you hope that he breaks out of this when obviously the games matter the most this time of year. Right,
and to that credit, like Luke, who has seen significant decrease in minutes up until really yesterday, he was ready for his moment. 4 threes. How many he knocked down?
4, yep.
Like, the fact that he was able to come in, make shots, obviously, that's going to get you more playing time. But, like, I feel like he's the steady guy, right? Like, he's the one that is just constantly positive, steady. He had told us after the game yesterday, there was never a doubt they were going to win that game, even down 15, right? And for them to be able to go from down 15 to up 15 in 16 minutes on the game clock time, like, pretty impressive stuff. And I think Luke's playing some of his best ball.
No doubt. Yeah, to hit 4 threes, 4 for 9, gets the benefit of the bank. The bank was open
That's right,
on a Saturday. So you'll take that. When he hit that, he really hit kind of back-to-back threes there in the middle of the second half. One to tie the game. Nebraska then took the lead back. And then the 3 to give Illinois finally an advantage after trailing, like you said, 15 early in that second half. So we know that he's got shot-making potential, but I also love just his activity. I thought to have 4 offensive rebounds was big for him, 6 boards on the game, and just getting some deflections defensively and just being on a game when Brad questioned his team's all-out effort and engagement. I felt like Luke brought that and needed some complimentary shot making in addition to Shannon. Just needed a little bit more of that energy and that juice, and I felt like Luke brought that.
Yeah, and that's going to be the interesting thing for me here as we get in after today. Only 1 more game guaranteed, right? That's it. We're towards the end here, or maybe we're not. I don't know. Could they win 6 games? We'll have to see. But, like, I think Brod's going to ride that hot hand, right? Justin has helped them win a lot of games this season, but he's got to play better if he's going to crack that rotation for as deep as this team is and what they're able to do and bring on the court. All right, let's get to this matchup, Wisconsin and Illinois. And it took a great performance from Marcus to knock them off. They were still on that downward trend then, right? They lost 6 out of 8 in February, Wisconsin had, and now they're playing a whole lot better. So what's changed with Wisconsin to allow them to get to this point where they're here today playing for a title?
it's A.J. Storr playing at this level. I mean, he has 66 points in 3 games here in Minneapolis, but 30 on Northwestern. Had a big run there, especially early against Purdue. So when he has it rolling, he's a true 3-level scorer. I mean, he's a guy that's got size, got athleticism. He can go downhill. He can make threes, and he can also even just create hit that pull-up jumper as well. So he's going to be a really tough cover. I kind of look at him and Shannon as similar players. You get just a younger version. It's crazy. He's only a sophomore, and where he can go from here. So obviously Terrence a 5th-year version, more polished, probably just more advanced, knowing that his time
skills
in college. But Storr could be eventually that type of player, I feel like. I also think that Chucky playing the way that he has. I mean, 22 points yesterday, really efficient. I think he was maybe 9 for 11 from the field, had 3 steals, a big drawn offensive foul on Braden Smith. He's an all-defensive team guy for a reason. Just the way he hounded Braden, got that turnover, and then Max Klesman making that runner in the lane to be the game-deciding basket. So Steven Krause also played pretty well here. A guy that was in foul trouble against the Illini back in Madison, only played 14 minutes, but since they've been here in 3 games, he's had about 16 points a game, and the 3 ball is going for him. We think of him as someone that can score inside, but he's 6 for 9 from 3, so that pick and pop game is something you got to watch out for. So that's kind of interesting, I think, as you evaluate, could this be a Dane game? I think it could, but you don't want to give Crowell those open looks if he's going to knock those down.
Crowell and Wall, both from Minnesota? I know one of them is.
Yeah, I know Crowell is.
Crowell is. I'm not sure about Wall, but, that homecoming Minnesota type, like Wisconsin, I know this over the years, has recruited Minnesota very, very well, picking guys out from the neighboring state and bringing them to Madison. And so I'm interested in that. Maybe this is Marcus's day, right? He gets a little momentum yesterday. Maybe he can come back. And that's kind of like what, if I'm an Illini fan, I think I would like to see, right? It's like you've had moments from Terrence. Certainly he's been that upper echelon. But then remember Ohio State game, you needed Dane, right? And a big performance from him off the bench. You get a little bit from Marcus yesterday. If Terrence doesn't go off and score 25 plus again, then maybe Marcus can step up. Or, even Luke yesterday, the fact that he was able to come in and hit those 4 threes, a big reason why they made that run in the second half. All right, I've seen a lot of Wisconsin fans in here, Darren.
No doubt.
There is a lot of red in here. The DJ's still playing. A lot of people taking their picture here in front of the B1G sign. Did you get your picture, Darren?
I haven't got it yet, no.
Make sure you get that before you leave,
I will.
We are in the lobby here at Target Center. Escalators coming up to the arena level here, the floor of the concourse. And there is quite a bit of orange. Fans yesterday, I would say a lot of Husker Red still.
Yeah.
I would say Husker Red outnumbered Illini Orange. Be curious to see how that plays out today. Wisconsin only about a 4-hour drive up here, 8 from Champaign. So I have seen quite a bit of Illini Orange. I'm going to guess the crowd is pro-red today, though. I don't think that's going to be too much of a stretch.
No, I think that's going to be pretty fair. Jump around was going pretty
pretty
heavy there yesterday after the Purdue win, and it may have even drawn in more Badger fans to come in for this game. And look, they're going to want to get revenge on Illinois, not only for earlier in Madison this year, but Illinois won 7 in a row now against Wisconsin. That streak's getting up there. It's not approaching the 15 in a row that Illinois was on the wrong side of for a number of years.
We covered a lot of those ones.
We did, but yeah, I agree. It's going to be hopefully just all in all a pretty good turnout. I think you're going to see a lot of red, decent showing of orange, and some green on St. Patrick's Day too.
Yeah, there you go. I forgot it's St. Patrick's Day, and so immersed here in the coverage of the Illini. All right, you ready to make some picks here as we get closer to game time?
Let's do it.
All right, what'd you take?
I like the Illini in this one. I think it's a better team. I think maybe that message from Brad finally resonates. Of you can't, finally. You're also getting maybe a little bit of wear and tear on the tires for Wisconsin. Their 4th game in 4 days. Either way, you got to fight through fatigue. These guys aren't used to playing this many games, this many days, as much as Brad likes to push back. Oh, these guys are 28 and 21.
Yeah, right.
They don't get tired. As media members, we're a little tired, but we're still here going. But, yeah, I think that Shannon is just on a tear right now. I don't think he can be denied. I think this is a good matchup for Marcus. And ultimately, while it could be a situation where some tired legs, maybe some missed shots, I think also Wisconsin wants to slow down the pace. So I'm actually not going to go to the 80s in this one, just shy of that. Illinois 78, Wisconsin 74. Close battle.
Okay.
The Illini are on the ladder, cutting the nets right before the selection show, in my opinion.
Yep. All right. Well, let's see how it goes. I am also going to pick Illinois. I don't know that it gets to 80 either. I agree. Like that fourth game in 4 days for Wisconsin, those tired legs I think are real, especially in that second half. I could see Wisconsin coming out and playing well in the first, but Illinois continuing to wear down their opponents. I think that could play into this today as we get to this. You didn't get in the cold tub like Brad last night, I guess.
No.
You know, as media members get tired. I guess we should have gone to the cold tub.
Wherever we go for an NCAA tournament, let's get a jacuzzi or
nice, okay.
And recreate that photo of media members. Let's do that. I want to make that happen.
Oh, that would be good. That'd be pretty legendary stuff there. If we can pull that off. We'll see about that. All right, I'm gonna say 77 to 75. 77-75. We'll see how it plays out here as we get set for tip-off 2:30 and a game you can watch on WCIA 3. That selection show right after, Derek. That should start about 5 as long as this one doesn't go to overtime. Remember in 2021, it went to OT, and then Illinois was still cutting down the nets as the show was going on. They will watch the show here in a separate room. That's their game plan, as long as the game doesn't run long, that they will watch that show together, see where they're at, then we'll have a chance to go talk to them. And as you mentioned at the outset, Derek, I think yesterday's win got them to a 3. I feel pretty comfortable and confident in saying that. And they haven't been a 3 very often. Like, it's been a long time since they've been on the bottom of that bracket. We'll see. Maybe they could play up to a 2. I don't think that's going to be the case today, even with a win. But, hey, for me, that 3 to a 4 makes all the difference in the world there.
Huge difference. Ducking the number one. You're a 4 seed. You're going to play a pretty light team, and if the 5 seed takes care of business also in that first round. So just more favorable path to get to the Sweet 16. Once you're there, you wouldn't draw a 1 seed. So not to say that the 2s that you match up with Marquette again wouldn't be a tough battle, but just the path to get there, really all around. Face a 14 seed, although a lot of people forecasting Akron as that 14 seed. What a wild game to get John Gross in the tournament
last night. Yeah.
I'm happy for our old buddy John Gross getting in, but no doubt. You just look at I think the 6 line, a lot more favorable than what maybe you could have drawn in the 5, and you're getting rewarded for finishing the season on a high note, racking up some of these quad 1 wins, and Illinois is deserving. Take care of business today, and then that path to the Sweet 16, man, it's about as good as you. I know the 1 seed in 21 was pretty good too. They just didn't take care of it. Didn't take care of business, but man, just thoroughly excited for today and ready to see what that bracket reveals as well. I mean, that's always such a fun time of year.
Right, and I think the other thing too, the 3 seed is going to get you a little bit better travel most of the time.
Yeah, that's a good call.
For the team, and so instead of maybe as a 4 seed having to go to Salt Lake City or Spokane, maybe they can get a Omaha or Pittsburgh. And I know a lot of Illini fans would love to see that as well. Memphis in that
I would love
mix,
to see that as well.
Because, for us. But it's just, hey, look, if you're playing closer to home, more fans are going to come and see you.
Yes.
And I think that's a big bonus for being in that 3 seed as well. All right, you guys, you've been busy, man. You and Joey, 3 deep here in Minneapolis. What do you guys got on the site leading up to tip-off?
A lot. So excited about that. I got 3 keys and a pick. I also did my takeaways yesterday, highlighting Shannon and just the mode that he's in. And also, I think just working on the slow starts, too, and what that could mean for Illinois going forward. Joey wrote a feature on Terrence Shannon. Jeremy did a notebook. He's also reached out to our buddy Brad Evans to get the latest on the bracketology. So whether you're gearing up for this game, Selection Sunday, we got you covered. Illini Inquirer will cover it all as well after it transpires here in Minneapolis, and check out your guys' stuff as well.
Yep, full day of coverage here on WCIA 3. Of course, you can watch the game right here on Channel 3, and then we'll have the selection show right after that. We'll be here from Minneapolis. Have you covered from the locker room, tons of post-game sound, see if Illinois can come out and get a win. We'll stream the press conference if they have it as well. I think sometimes they just do interviews right on the court. We'll see how that all plays out later on today on these same digital channels. But thanks so much for tuning in. 2:30 tip on WCIA 3, Big Ten title on the line. Looking forward to a great day. Enjoy the game, everybody. Thanks for watching. And the next time we're doing this, we're somewhere in the NCAA tournament.
Let's do it.
It's been a fun ride. There you go. Cheers to that. All right. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Enjoy the game.